Hello everyone, welcome to a new process video today. I am working in my TN, my Traveler's Notebook, which showcases the books I read, and I'm doing the left-hand side only for 2020. If you haven't been following my series, I have switched to doing much smaller photos so that I can do one-page layouts to ensure that I fit 1 year in each TN, because prior to that it was taking me more than one. That's too much. So I need to cut down somehow. This is how I've chosen to do it. So I have a very small, about 2x2 photo here. And this book is called The Marriage of Opposites by Alice Hoffman. I actually read this, or sorry, not read it. I listened to it as an audiobook. And the concept sounded very intriguing. I didn't look at how long it was before I purchased it. It was very long. And I enjoyed it, but it was kind of tough getting to the end. I got to the point where I'm like, okay, just like wrap it up. And I wanted to get to the end. But overall, a good book. But that's all I have so far in terms of designing. I have pulled out my clear bag here that I keep that has all book and reading related things. So I have that at the ready so I can pick out some things for the background. What is nice about this one is it's primarily a black and white or even sepia tone photo. So it lets me have some choice in it. Now, the title here is in red, but it's very small, not the easiest thing to see. So I could still, I feel like, use almost any color I want. If I have something red that works, I'll try to use it. But if not, I'm not going to worry about it. I have pulled some paper here, and when I took it out, it was this piece. But then when I looked at the other side, I realized, oh, that would kind of be perfect, because then I do get the red. And it's quite bold against this photo. It would stand out super well. It does mean that if I want to journal, I likely can't do it right on here because it's too dark. But I love the idea of having it as a background, so I'm going to go with it. I cut a piece that is approximately 4x8, which is the size that will fit in here. And then as I was doing that, I contemplated cutting this in half diagonally and using that so that it's a mix of red and white. I really like the idea of that. And then I can embellish on the red, and the white will leave me room to journal. So I think I am going to do that. So I have my trimmer here. I'm ready to cut, and then I'll be back. So in order to cut this paper, I thought maybe I should show that part. The trimmer that I have has a guide wire in there, so it lets me see exactly where the blade is going to cut. So I'm not measuring or anything. I'm just lining up the points with the guide wire, and then I'm going to cut like so. For this layout, I think I want the paper to go in this direction. So at the top, I want it to be on this side, and then I can place the photo right here, do a little bit of embellishing, and then this gives me room to journal. So I'm actually gonna take this off so I can adhere this paper. And I see my cat has been on my desk. I have two cats. One of them is predominantly orange, the other one is gray and stripy. And the gray one leaves hair everywhere. And so I find it on my desk quite frequently, even though she knows she's not supposed to be up here. Naughty kitty. But I digress. Back to the layout. So I will put that about like so. There we go. It's a little crooked, I can see, but you know what? This is pretty stuck down already, so it's not coming back up, people. So it's going to stay there. So I have that, and then I can put a photo on there. And I think I will do it right up here, or should I do it more centered? Maybe like right there. That leaves me room that if I want to add something up top I can, or I could stamp there, and I still have plenty of room here. This I am planning will all be journaling. Because this photo it has a slight sepia tone to it, I'm wondering if any of these will work. These are wood veneer pieces that I got from Colorcast Designs, and they're all related to reading. And one of the great things about how she does wood veneer, if you've never seen anything from her company, I want to show this. Look how thin that is. That's crazy. Most wood veneer is much thicker than that. It comes self-adhesive as well. So I love it for TNs because it's so thin, it's easy to adhere, it doesn't take a lot of work. So I like that. So I'm going to go through here and see if one of these will work. So I have decided to use this one that says always reading. And pretty much 95% of the time I am in the middle of some kind of a book, whether that's real book, whether that's audio book, whether that's an ebook, whatever. I have something going. But also because I felt like with this one, I was constantly listening to it. Like every day I was on my iPad listening to it because it just was so long and it took so long to finish it. So I think it's appropriate in this case, and I think I want to use it right there underneath. And then I'll probably do something overlapping down here, but I'm not sure what. And one thing I haven't mentioned yet is what the book is about. And the reason I picked it up is because there was a connection to the painter Camille Pissarro. And that is what initially caught my eye. The woman pictured here, that is his mother. And the majority of the story does revolve around her. She ends up having two husbands, so you get the stories of both of those, and then her children, some of which are hers by marriage, some of which are biologically hers, and it's very complicated, and lots of things happen, and different countries are involved in this story. All of that intrigues me, and so that is why I chose to read it. So if that sounds interesting, give it a whirl. I do have to say I was hoping there would be more directly about Camille Pissarro, and there's not a whole lot. Towards the end you get more, but for 3/4 of the book, not really. It's really focused on her and her relationships. When I was looking for some embellishments that I might be able to use in addition to this, I pulled out this little bag of Flair that I have, and I'm looking at this one. It's got one, hopefully the camera will focus, it's got one red book and some other colors, and I thought maybe that would bring in some nice color to it, like if I put it down here and I could work my journaling lines around it. I like that idea. I'm also thinking that because of this black print and because I'm going to journal in black, I may do some black splattering on here just to bring in a little more interest to the background. I did decide to do the splattering on here, and so you can kind of see what it looks like, and that's just enough. I love it. Now, even though I covered the page, I had to kind of maneuver it, and so I ended up getting some over here. I'm not concerned about that because I can either cover it up with background paper or I can make it work for me when I do the next layout. So it's fine. I'll just figure out a way so that it works with what I do next. And that's kind of something you have to worry about with a TN, is that might happen. But yeah, I'm very lax about how I do these. So it's okay by me. So for here, now that I have done that, I can put on that Flair that I wanted to use. So I will do that next. Now I have the Flair adhered to the page, and I won't use a ton of these in here because they are so thick. It'll make it quite chunky, and I had to be careful of that. So that might be the only one that I do in this year's TN. We'll see. But I noticed on there that there's some light pink and even a light, very light purple, almost purpley gray color. So I pulled out just some regular phrases that I have to see if any of those would work that I could add in. I did find one phrase that I want to use. I have this one, and it's a very light pink, and it says, "Be you." And that is part of the message of the book, or the moral, or whatever you want to call it, is that she is a very stubborn, strong-willed person and refuses to give up on what she believes is correct, or believes to be true, believes to be right, the way she thinks that things should be. And so I think that's fitting. And I want to put it right over here, I think, and then I will just do the journaling kind of above it and around it. But I really like the way that looks, and I like the color that it will add. I have added in that phrase there as well as the journaling lines, so you can see what that looks like. And I'm mostly happy with it, but I do feel like maybe I need something up here. Probably stamping, or maybe even I could stamp a couple phrases, but it still feels a little blank, so I want to add something. I decided that I maybe didn't want to stamp after all, and I didn't want to bring in more black. I decided I wanted pink, and I dumped out a bunch of my star embellishments here, and I actually really like this one because it's got a white background, it's circular, so it mimics this, and it's pink, and I can put it right up here on the photo to kind of bring attention to her, since the story is mainly about her. So I'm going to do that next. All right, I have attached that, and I think this one is done. I really don't need to add anything else to it. I like to keep these fairly simple and just use kind of scraps of what I have, so that works perfectly. So here's another one done for my books of 2020. Thanks for watching.